Is it possible that focusing on the wrong number is causing you time, it's costing you income, and it's costing you your future? How is that possible? Well, focusing on the wrong number, not only you, maybe the doctor, maybe an owner, a manager, team members, but focusing on the wrong number can absolutely cost you all the things that I just mentioned. My name is Kevin Johnson. I'm the CEO of Leverage Consulting, as well as the creator of Leverage U, an online university. Over the last 23 years, I have worked with clients across all different types of practices, be it whatever, any of the different specialties, be it the multi-doctor, multi-location to start up single doctor, wind it down single doctor location. And I've worked with a lot of different doctors in terms of their involvement in business, the business side of the practice, and I've seen a lot of different outlooks on the practice when it comes to the business side of running the practice. And one of the things that comes up all too frequently, not that it's really a problem, but it comes up a lot, and it's just I have a very different mindset in terms of what it is that you're supposed to pay attention to and measure on a day in, day out, weekly, monthly, and annual basis. So many of the doctors that I've worked with over time, they are hyper-focused on adjusted production, and I get it. I totally understand why. I know why they look at adjusted production, and it's purely because we can't spend gross production. And if you're not familiar with the difference between the gross production and the adjusted production, I'm going to explain that. So gross production is that number where at the end of the day, we can say this is the total of all the charges we had in terms of all the patients we saw, all the charges for all those patients, all added up into one big number at the end of the day. And this is, again, the gross production. It takes into no account what insurances these patients had, takes into account nothing else. This is purely your full practice fee for every patient added up to the end of the day. So that's the number that is the baseline number that you should be looking at day in, day out. The adjusted production is this. It's gross production minus all of your write-offs. And if you're not sure what the write-offs are, that would be your insurance, that would be your discretionary write-offs, that would be your discounts, all the other things that basically reduce the possible collections amount. Adjusted production is just that. It's gross production minus all those adjustments, so you come down to some number. So let's just say for grins and giggles, in a time period, you produced $100,000, so that's gross production of $100,000, and let's say you had $25,000 worth of write-offs. That would mean you have $75,000 in adjusted production. That $75,000 is exactly what your practice should be able to collect in the next, well, either in that month or in the next, say, 6 to 8 weeks. So depending on your level of insurance involvement, the types of insurance companies you deal with, how active you are in the collections process, how much you collect in advance, all those different things will define how quickly you collect that $75,000. But let's get back to the point of what I was talking about with, are we focusing on the wrong number? And quite honestly, there's another question I didn't even talk about, and that is, are we even focusing on a number? So the gross production is by far the number that I want my clients focused on. It's the number I ask clients to focus on. So the number I always ask them about in our calls. And why is that? Well, if you take anyone, like right now, there's a client of mine we're working with, and we're going through their production and we're going through their insurance involvement. So when we're going through that, you might make a list of the 12 insurance plans that they're working with. And when you look at all those plans, you may say, okay, for this one, they're writing off 18% in total. For this one, they're writing off 24% in total. For this one, they're writing off 27%. You may have some that write off, where you're writing off as much as 50%, maybe more, hopefully not. But you may be writing off as much as 50% of what you produced in that time frame. So, could you imagine how much hair or how little hair you would have and your team would have if you were trying to calculate on a daily basis whether we're meeting our goals by doing it off of adjusted production? So the whole reason why I have clients focus on gross is it is the one constant you can always rely on, because we always know these are our full fees It always shows how busy we are. If you're trying to do adjusted, let's just say if you were involved in a plan that you were writing off 50% and you were involved in another plan where you're only writing off, say, 20%, it would be really misleading to say, well, today we saw these patients from this plan, which doesn't really happen that way. But if we did see patients only from this plan today and we produced $10,000, but we saw patients from another plan and we produced $7,000, what does that make you think? Well, you were really unproductive that day. You could have literally done the same amount of work, same type of work, but it was just different because it was a type of insurances that you're involved with. So that's why I always ask clients to hyper focus on the gross production. And it's not just the doctors, not just the office manager. It has to be the entire team, and primarily the administrative team, because they are the ones that focus on putting together a schedule, creating a productive schedule, a low stress schedule, and a schedule that flows well. So when they're focused on the gross production, let's just say if you had a goal of $10,000 in a day, they know if they start stacking procedures and building out your schedule, then you can see on a day-to-day basis, we were meeting goal. With the gross production, we can see we produced $10,000 today. Yesterday, we produced $11,000. Tomorrow, right now, it may only be $9,000. Now, mind you, even if it's at $9,000 tomorrow, if we added nothing else to it for these 3 days, it will average out. But since we still have time, we'll work on trying to make that $9,000 day into at least a $10,000 day. So when you go back to your office, when you're sitting there and you're figuring out how am I going to grow my practice, if you and your team are not hyper focused and looking at gross production on a daily, weekly, monthly, and annual basis, that's one of the first things I would tell you to do is start getting hyper focused on that. Because when you turn that into a daily activity, you will grow your practice, you will have more predictable income, you will have lower stress days, and quite honestly, we all want to have fun when we go to work. And when you have all the things that I've already mentioned, you will have more fun at work. So focus on the gross production. And again, my name is Kevin Johnson. I'm the CEO of Leverage Consulting, as well as the creator of Leverage U, an online university. If you like this type of content, hit like, hit subscribe. If you have any thoughts or questions about anything in this video or any of my other videos, drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Love to hear what your thoughts are on gross production and how it relates to your practice.